Hey, how's it going, guys? Welcome back to the Blue Podcast, episode 3. Each time the videos are going to keep getting better, and today I have everything organized for you guys, and we're going to talk about something very important for me, which is traveling. As you can see in the title, is traveling worth it? Like, if you've been thinking about traveling, you know, this might be the video for you because as someone that has traveled like growing up, someone that's traveled like recently and has other plans of traveling, I can give you guys some very, very good tips for my personal experience, right? So I was talking with a coworker recently, right? And I noticed how just talking around with people or like here in Long Beach, LA or whatnot, people don't know how expensive traveling is. When I tell people that I like to travel, they think I have a shit ton of money. They're like, "Oh, you're rich, right?" And I'm like, "No, like if you do everything with time, it's really not that bad." So, yeah, he was asking me like, "Oh, like how expensive is it? Like how much does the process of traveling cost? How much time does it take? Yada yada yada." Like so many different questions, right? Because they had never done it before, being in LA. So I feel like there's a lot of people that have no idea on how much the expenses are, what the pros and the cons of traveling, because some people may think like, oh, why should I travel? Like, oh, I can just watch it in YouTube videos, this, and that. But there's a lot of pros in my opinion, and I feel like the cons are mostly money wise, but if you know how to like manage yourself, it's really not that bad. It's really not that bad, okay? Especially it depends on where you live, you know? But oh my god. Personally, for me, it's helped me like for my mental health, traveling even if it's like to another city nearby, because I want to touch a little bit more in international flights, but I want to talk a little bit about more local ones at first. And you can take a bus or with a car and you can go to another city, and they can be cheaper, more expensive, but it might help you mentally just having a little of escape of freedom, right? I personally like playing like video games, for example, because it gives me a little bit of that, but it's not comparable to traveling to another country, right? So here's the first part: money management, right? So sorry if you guys are gonna see me like my screen like kind of giving white flashes. I gotta look at my notes. So, uh, you want to set a budget, right? So how long and how much money you're willing to spend. Those are the two main factors, right? Now you want to be realistic, right? If your budget is $200 and you want to go to Japan, unless I don't know, unless you live very close by, it's gonna be really hard for you. Unless you live like in China, yeah, I think even in China, it's still going to be very hard. If you're trying to spend only $200 to go to Japan for 2 weeks, that is not going to happen, obviously, right? You want to like inform yourself of how much it is, kind of, because I've seen a lot of videos and people tend to go a little bit overboard. I feel like people always spend a little bit more than what they're anticipating. So don't have a set limit, have a range, right? So I'm going to Japan in September, right? And I'm going there for like 12 days around there. My budget is anywhere from like $1,500 to $2,000 at max. Like $2,000, like emergency, like I get fucking stuck in the middle of nowhere sort of shit. 1,500 would be like my initial limit, but I wouldn't be mad if I crossed at $2,000. I will reach into my budget and my planning of those numbers and how I kind of touch those numbers in a bit, and why I think it's a reasonable price and how much I think I'm gonna spend. Because even though my max limit is like 1,500, I might be spending $1,200, which is kind of what I'm anticipating on 10 or 12 days in Japan, which is $100 a day, which is not bad at all. Anyway, so yeah, you really, really want to have that mentality set where you're not going to be upset if you surpass that limit, right? Very, very important for everything. Now you want to select a destination, right? What's what are you interested in? And I feel like if you're working a lot, you might want a trip to be a bit more relaxing, right? Because that's the other thing. Like, what do you want to do on this trip? For me, I'm a little bit more adventurous, so I try not to stay in one city. I like going all over the place. I like hiking. I like doing all of this. For example, when I go to Japan, I have plans of hiking Mount Fuji, right? I have everything set up. I'm a big planner, and I like to go all over the place instead of just going to Tokyo, which is completely fine for some people. Now, if you're looking for something more relaxing, like you might want to go to Hawaii and experiment, and you might think like, oh, Hawaii is expensive, this isn't that, but inform yourself, and if you have the budget for it, you can do it. It's an experience that you will you will have for the rest of your life, you know? So, yeah, you want to know why you're traveling and what type of trip you want to take. So, if you want to relax, hiking, culture, maybe you just want to go to another city and party, you know, because a lot of people like to go to another place and just experience the party culture over there. Totally fine, you know? So, investigate, right? Like Japan kind of has all over, like, kind of a little bit of everything, which is very good. Um, Also, some countries are more expensive than others. Japan has gotten a bit more expensive over the years, but I mean it's really not that bad, you know, in comparison to other countries. Like the States, it's definitely more expensive. Now, how can you reduce these costs, right? This is another point I want to take. You don't want to buy like the first things you see. Money does not mean you're getting better quality. It just means you're getting kind of scammed, right? How much time you want to spend before you buy your tickets? If it's an international flight, I would say like 4 to 5 months, like is a good range. The more you wait, the more expensive it's gonna get, and so it's kind of important to set a date earlier on. Like if you can commit, like I would recommend you just buy the tickets once you find like a super good price. So for me personally, I have a couple of tricks where I will be looking at the price of tickets constantly, like every single day. And if you are doing this, don't do it in the same like web browser. Do it on like private window if you can, like on a different phone here or there or whatnot. Because if you're looking at it on your website like over and over again, it will pick up that you want to take this trip and it'll increase the price, right? So always use like incognito mode. Use like yeah, like just don't use your regular browser for this. Now I feel like I'm a little bit slanted here. There you go. I was looking at this shit. Um, so for prices, right? Like you want to inform yourself online, but I've found some really good deals, which I will touch on in a little bit. Another strategy you can do when it comes to like buying flight tickets, right? You can get one way, and then sometimes the way back is the one that's expensive. You can like hyper focus, like look at it constantly. And maybe one day you'll find a cheaper one, and all around you'll have a cheaper one than just looking at all around flights, right? Um, so that's number one thing. Most expensive is the flight, right? Number two is where you're staying, like Airbnb, hotel, hostel. What are you willing to pay, and where are you willing to stay at, right? Are you gonna be out all day, right? Are you more of like a traveler when you're in the country where you're gonna spend all the day outside? Then maybe you just want a hostel. Like for example, in Japan, I paid $30 for my friend and I, which is $15 each for just a bunk bed because we're not gonna be there. Besides just sleeping, we're just gonna sleep there and then leave the next day, right? So it depends on how cheap you want to go, how expensive, what's your needs or whatnot. But that's another thing you got to investigate because that's like the second thing most expensive usually. And the third thing is food, right? Depending on where you travel, it's going to be more expensive and cheaper, obviously, right? Like if you go to Thailand, it's going to be cheaper. If you go to the States, it's going to be more expensive. Like it just depends. Again, investigate the country you're gonna go to. Okay, it's very important. Just do investigations. Don't just fly there and like kind of ruin your mood or like spend all your money or like be smart about your money. But those three things: uh, tickets, where you're sleeping, and food. Those are the main three you gotta look into. And then the number fourth, which it depends on who you are and what you're kind of I don't even know how to put this, but anyways, extra expenses, right? Some people it can be the lowest thing, or other people can be the most expensive thing of their trip. It can even be more expensive than the other three we touch. And if you go to Japan, some people will go there specifically to buy something, or they'll be there and they'll just like feel so overwhelmed that they'll want to buy all the fucking Pokemon plushies, which is completely fine. But that's where the budgeting comes from again, right? Like just be smart with your money. You don't want to like go back and regret like everything and have like a bad memory because you ended up spending all your money, or you went there and you didn't have enough money to buy what you wanted. So again, budgeting, very important. How much you want to spend on this. So the next part, um, I want to show you guys my step by step kind of my money management, because I'm talking a lot about money management. I want to talk about my trip a couple months ago now, where I went to London. I went to Oslo, Spain, because that's my home, and back to London in 6 days. How much it cost me to go to three different countries, right? So I have my script here, which is pretty much just me showing you guys what I've been talking about. But oh shit, I should have done this beforehand. Here you go. Okay, so as you can see here, I wanna show you my step by step, right? So my flights to London from LAX round trip were $500, and then one way ticket to Norway was $30. Bear in mind all of this with a small suitcase. It was $60 from Oslo, Norway to Spain, and then another $25 to go to London. This was $615 to go to three different countries, right? Which is honestly not bad at all. Um, so I have here $80 for 2 nights at Oslo. It was a total of 160, but I went with my friend. So with my 2 nights at Oslo and this, it's 675. Bear in mind, if you know people in these countries, it's obviously gonna make the trip way cheaper. So we didn't know anybody at Oslo, but since I was staying with my family in Spain and I had my friend in London, then I didn't have to pay for those other places. So in this aspect, this was like super cheap, super super cheap. So I will recognize that. Now I only really spend like $25 for food a day. I mean, I think it was probably less, but I mean that's kind of a reasonable price to put on there. So I was there for 6 days, so that brings it up to 825, and then I spent like a $50 in like trains, especially going from the airport to London airport or the buses or whatnot. It can get a little pricey, and then I didn't do too much shopping there, but 875. That is crazy. That is not expensive at all. Okay, now if I were to pay what's called like hotels or whatnot, Airbnbs in the other places, it would be roughly like $1,050 around there, which is still not bad. Like it's a little bit over $1,000. You're gonna spend more or less on food. I was being kind of reasonable in my opinion. Food is not as expensive as in the states, especially California. $25 a day. You're gonna be kind of living or eating very very little amount here if you have that budget. But in Europe, it's pretty decent, right? And you might wonder, like, what? No, there's no way you spent that much, like $30 to go to like England to Oslo, or from London to Oslo. Yeah, like once you're in Europe, if you travel to Europe, going from country to country is so cheap. Like Ryanair might not be the best airline, but you can get like super cheap flights. You know, as I said, like you can technically fly from like Spain to England for $12. It's really up to you. I had a suitcase, so I had to pay a little extra, but $30? Oh come on, like that is super super easy. And personally, you don't have to do this, but if you're going for multiple days and you're going to multiple locations in one place, I'm gonna show you guys uh what my itinerary looks like, right? So this is my upcoming trip with my buddy, right? And he's gonna fly here. We're gonna go to Vegas for a day. We're gonna go come back, right? And then we're gonna go to Japan for I said 12 days. Now 12 days or 10 days? No, no, 12 days. Yeah, my bad. Anyways, so this is how my personal itinerary looks like. You can make it in Google Slides. You can make it in different ways. I like to do it in Google Docs just because I can add a links. I can click here and I can look at my link. I haven't done for my friend yet, but I mean we can add his ticket in there. And so I like to add the times, the dates, like day by day. I like to add a lot of links. So, for example, first day, right? We have a flight that is 11 hours and 30 minutes. Let me make sure I'm showing my screen. Yeah. 11 hours and 30 minutes. And when we get there, I have the Google Maps link on roughly where we're going at. Um, right? So if I click here, it'll go and show me the exact route from the airport on our first place that we're staying at, right? Um, and then I have the Airbnb link here so that it's easy. I have the price, $54 for two people for one night. It's euros, so say like $60. So that was $30 for each one of us. Not bad at all for a night here. Oh my god, even if it's a bunk bed, it's gonna be like 150, 160, like $30 is not bad at all. And then I added a few things that can be interesting around the area, because you might not be able to do everything you want, but it's good to know what's around there and why you want to go there. So like I can go here, I can check the times, I can look at the photos, this and that. And once we're there, and depending on if we're more tired or if we have more time, less time, we can do more or less, right? So the day after, right? Um, Travel to the Airbnb at around 12 p.m. So I like to put like times, not like a specific time where this time this time that, this time that, this and that. But it is like you got to be like somewhat flexible about times and what you want to do. And so I once again I have my route and I gotta be considerate about, oh, this is like a 4 hour flight or flight trip, because you gotta go all the way back to Tokyo and then you gotta go all the way back, and it is somewhat close to Mount Fuji. So we're not gonna go to Mount Fuji at like 3:30 p.m. That is not gonna happen. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go there. We're gonna stay there for a couple days, and we're gonna be around the lake, right? So there's a lot of free activities. So like this pagoda is very very famous. A lot of people go there. The lake is around as well, right? So like I saw, you can technically go on a ship, and you can go on the lake of Kawaguchiko, which is a super super famous lake. You can see the Mount Fuji from there usually. And after that, I have the whole plan of going and climbing Mount Fuji. I even found the link of the weather at top of Mount Fuji. And as I said, like this is up to you on how much you want to organize it. For me, I want to make sure that I have everything set up. It makes my head work way better than if I go there and I have no fucking clue. I'm just like improvising. You can do that to a certain extent, but you need to have like more or less like an idea, okay? And if I go back here, Like this is kind of my day by day kind of thing. I still haven't finished it, but pay for your Airbnbs like as soon as possible because Airbnbs get all booked up. They get all expensive and this and that, and like just make sure you get them because if you wait too long, oh man, you're gonna have a hard time looking finding a place because you might think of that mentality of, oh, I can just go to the hotel nearby and like spend the night there, maybe, but it might cost you way more money than just finding a place that you find interesting or like if you prep beforehand. You know, there's an expression in Spanish where it's mejor prevenir que curar, which is pretty much translates to it's better to prevent something bad from happening than like healing yourself after the bad thing happened. So the other thing I wanted to show is I don't want to show too much because my personal information's here, but you can add the fucking travel shit for you to what's called to make it easy in the airports, right? Now this is a picture you can always like zoom in on your phone and then scan it, or you can like download the picture, whatever you know. But it is another thing. I still haven't done it with this one because I don't have my QR codes yet. There's still 4 months before I go there. But I mean, it is a thing you can do where you can add the pictures of, say, like I'm going to Ghibli Park and I have my fares. I can add the images here, the QR codes, and so I don't have to like go into my email, this and that. Like I don't have any internet connection. Google Documents, fortunately, will save everything offline, or you can have a document like offline. For me, I like to have it shared with my buddy just in case like anything happens to one phone or the other person will have all the information of the other person without having to record to like this and that, blah, 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 blah. It's not the best case scenario. So um itinerary, money management, we touched all of that, planning beforehand, and also what you want to do. Like if you want to be realistic, I'm just gonna show you guys what my Japan map looks, and I have little points here on what I personally want to do. Now, if you want to stay in Tokyo for 7 days, way easier for you. For me, I pinpointed the different places that I wanted to go to. Like for example, like I don't think we're gonna be able to make it, but this is the bathhouse that inspired Spirited Away, and I bought the last Airbnbs, and I don't think we're gonna be able to make it on time, but we are gonna make it on time for Itsukushima, where it has really really cool things to see, like traditional. So just you gotta pick and choose and make a route. Like Japan's countryside, like you can't really travel around here. Like it'll take forever. So we're going Tokyo down. Like, oh, here I have like Shinchan for maybe for the last few days. I still haven't organized that part yet. We go airport. We go down here up to Mount Fuji. We go here. Oh, that's the station. We're gonna go up here for a day. I found an onsen, an Airbnb that's cool. Then we go to Ghibli Park. Then we're gonna go to Nara, Osaka, Kyoto, because I mean you have to see it. And then we're gonna go over here, Itsukushima, Hiroshima, if there's time. But it takes a while to go. We'll see the bathhouse, but it's not main priority. And then from Hiroshima, we're gonna fly back to Tokyo, spend there a couple days, this and that. So make a route because I found a few other places that I liked. Like for example, this ropeway. I thought it was super fucking cool, and I'm like, oh, this is the type of shit I'm into, like countryside ropeway. It super in the middle of fucking nowhere, but since it's in the middle of the nowhere, there's no way to like make this route work. Like it's too much effort. It's too much. You can't see everything, and you got to be okay with that. Don't put yourself down because you can't see everything you want to see. So that's why make a list and be reasonable with what you can and can't do. That is super super important. So how expensive is my Japan trip, right? And it's kind of hard to say because I'm still in progress with it, right? But I made some calculations because Japan is the destination that a lot of people want to go to. And how much did I spend for my ticket? $550, which is not bad at all. That's including a small suitcase too, right? Um, Now you can technically buy another suitcase there and then send it back if you want to, or it's just it just depends, you know. But since I'm gonna be moving a lot, I don't want a big suitcase. Most of my shopping is gonna be in Tokyo in the last few days, so that's where I'm gonna be more reasonable with what I'm bringing back. Or I'm gonna bring, for example, when I climb Mount Fuji, I'm gonna get a little walking stick with some stamps that can go on top of it. Shit like that will add up into your inventory little by little. So 550 for me to go there. It's an average of $30 a night, and I'm going there for 12 nights. So that's like $360 just on Airbnbs. So that's gonna be a estimate of like $900 on that, and then say like another 350 on food. That's like 1250. Most of the things I'm doing is free. Like I don't have to pay to like enter these places or whatnot. But all around trip, going to Japan, back and forth, everything. I said my budget's like 1,500, which not bad, but I have my range up to 2,000 just to not disencourage myself. Like that's how much I'm willing to spend, but like being reasonable, like my budget is 1,500. And now you're like, okay, I make this amount of money, this amount, you know, for me personally, where I'm sitting at right now, I'm at a new job and I'm not full time. But if I were to work 40 hours a week, which I did last week, for example, I can make $1,500 in like 10 days. You know, and obviously I got to pay for rent and I got to pay for this and that. But that's why I said money management is super important, not just to travel, but in general. So technically, if I didn't have any expenses at all, I could afford like quite literally a month and a half of traveling around more than I could travel to be in Japan for like 2.5 months with how much money I'm spending, being like very budget. And bear in mind, it's cheaper to fly with someone than it is to travel by yourself. Traveling by yourself is obviously a bit more expensive, but yeah. Now, next point I wanted to touch was what websites should you use, you know? Because there's different strategies on how to tackle best flights, right? So I am going to show you guys, and I'm not going to go incognito mode. I'm just going to show an example on how I personally uh, go and find my super cheap tickets, right? So I don't want to dox myself, but we're going to go to Skyscanner. It's a more popular website, and Skyscanner, what's good is that it has different type of websites. So if I were to change these last two, ES, now I'm in the Spanish one, and it's going to be in euros, and some flights are going to be cheaper because it's a Spanish one instead of an American one. They also have a UK, and they have like yada yada. They have like the same website for other countries, you know. So say I want to fly to Hawaii, right? Or yeah, say I want to fly to Hawaii. I'm gonna take this off to not bother you guys. And let's say Honolulu, which I'm pretty sure it's the cheapest one. As you can see, since we're close to summertime, everything is pretty expensive. But the more you're willing to get it beforehand, the cheaper it is. Obviously, December is always going to be expensive, but say we want to go to September. Now you can click on the green dates, or you can be a little bit smarter and click flexible dates. And you can see kind of how much it's gonna like be. Don't expect to pay the price that it says here. Expect to pay a little bit more. So even though this is the cheapest month, it says that technically this one's gonna be $1 more, but on average it's gonna be like way more expensive. So let's go from September to September, right? and we're gonna go for one adult. Let's see how expensive this is. Um, for some reason, oh, there you go. Now you can go ahead here and like click any date. Like maybe you want to go on the weekend, and for some reason it's cheaper, right? So you click the 5, and then you want to be there for 5 days. Boom, $291 to Hawaii round trip. That is not bad at all, right? Um, and honestly, like I don't know if this is the best or worst example because personally for here, this is like super consistent. Like prices. There are other places. Like if we look up Japan again, let's look up Tokyo. Some places, some destinations, it's gonna vary a lot, right? So say, look, this is already a $24 difference between one day or the other. And then if we were to go to first, we have very bad return dates, as you can see. Like we don't have anything. Maybe the 12. But let's go to the second. Again, we don't have the best one. So you just go one by one, and you just, unless you want like a very specific date, this is my recommendation, where you just go day by day, and you find like a reasonable uh like dates. Like you don't want to go too much or you don't want to go less. Like here, like perfect. You want to go there for a week. This is probably like some of the cheapest. Like as I said, I got mine for 550 because I was looking at this like constantly, like being patient with it, right? And look, 596. That is not bad at all. So if you click to find flights here, it'll show you a list on different airlines and what prices they're selling it for. And bear in mind, sometimes the cheapest will take fucking forever. Like it won't even be direct. In my case, thankfully, it's direct with Singapore Airlines. But sometimes it's gonna be like, oh yeah, it's $591, but you gotta take a 30-hour trip, and you gotta do a layover in China, and then you gotta do another layover in Taiwan, and then you gotta go all the way back to Japan. And it doesn't make any fucking sense. For some reason, it's cheaper, but be reasonable. Don't, like, if you can, avoid 20-hour trips if you can, because that is not something you want to do. Now if you save money and like you have a very strict budget, you may have to do it, but oh man, it's hard. Look at this. One stop, 35 hours. Like I'm not even exaggerating it. Like it gets fucking expensive, right? And so once you have your flight, it's like, oh, 591. That's not bad. As I said, don't look it up, and if you find like a good one, don't buy it right away. Just have that mind, or have that price in your head, and think of it can be cheaper or more expensive, but that's kind of like the price you're willing. Anyways, once you click here, you're gonna have different websites that are wanting to sell you that specific one. And in Skyscanner, you can see kind of the ratings of each one, like each company that's trying to sell you the flight. And obviously, the more you go down, the more expensive it's gonna get. And it doesn't necessarily mean that it's gonna be a better service. It's gonna be the exact same flight. So if you can, get the first one. Like honestly, unless you like have beef with like a specific web page, you're just gonna click it, okay? And I'm gonna go through the whole process. I'm not gonna go through the whole process, but I want to show you guys how easy it is in a way, because yeah, you do need a passport to travel. Obviously, like it's not something crazy to say, but it's not bad to get a passport. Like you can use it as an ID. So, anyways, some places will ask for a travel visa. Like when I went to the UK, I had to get a travel visa. So bear in mind there might be some extra costs, or it might be more or less. Anyways, you gotta be super attentive when you go in here, because they're gonna try to scam you. They're gonna try to push you to buy this at the most expensive price, right? So when this fucking shows up, this is like the fakest fucking shit. Do not ever trust the fucking, you got 10 minutes left to the reserve. If you were to refresh this, it's gonna refresh back to 10 minutes, or sometimes it doesn't. But trust me, it is not gonna go away. And yeah, you want to make sure you have the baggages or the bags you want to, right? So look, cabin bag, you get one bag per person. Check baggage, 2 bags per person. Not bad at all. But on the way back, you don't have one included. So this one's like kind of scammy in a way. They're trying to like trick you, right? So you want to make sure they're not tricking you. Also, you want to check like what time you're leaving, arriving, like if you're good with those times, right? And also when you're going through, just make sure you don't add any extra information, okay? Because or any extra cost, because they will try to like add insurance. Like just remember this initial price, because maybe towards the end, instead of 590, it'll be like 670 for no reason. They'll add like stupid insurances, like, oh, you can get your information on your phone. Like it's stupid. It's not. It doesn't make any sense. Nothing's gonna help you more or less. Like insurance is the only one that it depends on the person really, but it's kind of iffy there. My other thing, if you find a really good price from a page, it's very possible that they have other really good deals in their page. So let's look up the exact same page on maybe different dates. So what dates did we choose here? So we chose to be from the 11th or from the 10th all the way to the 24th. So we go 10 all the way. I think I don't know. Just let's just like try these, and we'll compare the prices on what we saw, which was 596, to other prices on here. Sometimes it'll be more expensive. Other times it'll be cheaper. Sometimes you gotta look around and maybe you'll find like a good deal. It just depends on how much and how stubborn you want to be. You know. Now, if you're trying to like save up like $10, no. If you're trying to save like $100 and it's reasonable because you've seen the price around, then maybe yeah, okay, maybe then it's worth it. But be reasonable as well with how much money you're trying to like. If you're trying to save like $5, I'm sorry, but you maybe you find a thing for $5, but you don't want to lose your flight, or you don't want to like miss out on the flight because you're trying to save like a ridiculous amount of money. Um, but yeah, just try to find a price that you are comfortable with. As you can see, like we found a pretty good deal of 591. Taking into consideration, there's like less than 4 months left to go to Japan. But yeah, I mean, you can always look at the other ones. Like it doesn't have to be just the first one. We look up Just Fly, right? And we're gonna go here, and every page is very similar. Okay. Um, I actually have this one for my personal flight to go to Japan, and then you can look up. You have some information here, right? And you're like, okay, so Singapore Airlines is the cheapest one. I mean, that's the one I went with as well, Singapore Airlines. Um, and look, best, cheapest, shortest, this and that. Okay. You have a lot of different flights, and then here, let's look it up for a day before. Let's see if we find a better flight for or a better price. Um. Okay, so it is scanning, and apparently it's a little bit more expensive. So let's see, it's scanning, but the flight that we found, it seems to be cheaper, right? So I mean, it just takes time, honestly. Like it's a whole process. But I want to show you guys like what the process is kind of like. And for me, it's a little bit fun. Like yeah, it could be a little bit tedious, but it's not something you're gonna get done in a day. Let me just like put it out there. You can buy it, like you can look at it and buy it the same day if you find like a super price. But I said it's just it's a waiting game, but not waiting like if you wait too much, it's gonna go up. But if you are too impatient, then you might not get the best price. It's kind of there. Okay, so anyways, uh, I kind of went through the monetary process of traveling, right? So what are the other type of benefits? As I said, for me, like mental health wise, it helps you a lot, but also like cultural awareness on how people live in different places of the world. Yeah, I think it's super important. Also, you get to talk to people around the world. You get to, I don't know, like it's very eye opening, especially if you haven't traveled before, or and even if you've traveled before. I said it's always different in person. Also like buildings, food, absolutely everything. Being in a different atmosphere just helps you. It's something magical. So yeah, I am willing to respond to any sort of like comment. If you need help for a specific one, for a specific trip, I can give you some suggestions. I can yeah, I can give you like some tips that's helped me. Like portable charger is super important. You obviously want your camera on your phone, or like there's also other necessities that you want or that you need, or this and that. Like you can make a checklist. There's a million different things. What's your reason for traveling? So that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed, because for me this is a very interesting topic, and it's something that I've personally enjoyed a lot doing throughout the years. Like I said, local or domestic, the kind of travels, because like I went with my grandmother, or well, I went with my friend to visit my grandmother up in Sacramento, and we have this whole story where we took the bus, right? We took the bus from LA all the way to Sacramento, but we passed through Oakland, and we were in Oakland for like 2 hours, and my friend and I were like, "What is happening right now?" I did not feel safe at all, just waiting in the bus stop. It was like 12 hours long, and the bathroom in the back smelled like shit, like literal shit. And in the moment, it's kind of annoying, but then later on, it's kind of funny. And not all the moments are like that, where it's kind of frustrating, but it's one of those things where you look back and it's kind of funny. And then you obviously have experiences where, like, when I climb Mount Fuji, it might be hard climbing up, but I will always remember like being at the top. Like, I'm so excited for that. But anyways, yeah, you guys tell me what your favorite traveling moment was. Maybe something kind of embarrassing like that, or maybe something like you ate your favorite food, or I don't know. Everybody has so many experiences traveling, which is always really fun. And yeah, I will see you guys next time. I hope you guys have a good time. And if you have any suggestions on what you want to see next up, on what I can talk about, I would be more than happy into reading your suggestions. So, bye bye.